Hey guys, it's Luca from Learning FTG, and today I'm doing kind of like a little experiment. Um, so here's the idea. What I wanted to do is I wanted to think about reserve list cards and their prices, and how much are their prices related to the amount of play they see in EDH. You guys may have noticed in some of my other videos, I talk about the type of reserve list cards that I like to go after. I like to go after reserve list cards that have a lot of that see a lot of play in EDH. So what I wanted to do was kind of look at the data and try to figure out, okay, how much does is there like a positive correlation between EDH play and price, and if so, can I kind of determine what cards are maybe underpriced right now and may go up in value in the coming years. So in order to do this, I have to look at cards that are from the same set, right? Because if I take two cards from different sets, then I won't be sure if it's because of different print runs, basically. So what I did is I just looked at Mirage because Mirage seemed to have the most reserve list cards, and so I basically took every Mirage card here from Acidic Dagger all the way down to Zuberry, Golden Feather, and I recorded the number of decks that they see playing, right? So I go to EDH racks here. It says under Zuberry, it'll say 48 decks, so that's how many decks. And then I would check the price on MPG Goldfish, right? So here it's like 729. So now I would do that for every reserve list card in Mirage. So that gave me this table here basically where I've got the number of decks that it sees play in and the price for all these different cards, and then I graphed it. And hopefully this isn't cut off. I don't think it will be. So what you'll notice is, yes, there does seem to be kind of a linear correlation, and I included a linear trend line here. This point all the way out here is Lion's Eye Diamond. Lion's Eye Diamond sees the most EDH play out of any card in Mirage, any reserve list card in Mirage. It sees playing about 9,000 decks, and its price is about $660. Whereas, all the cards that basically don't see any EDH play really are, for the most part, not worth anything. And this is because, in my opinion, the demand for a card from Mirage is pretty much, does it see play in EDH? If it doesn't see play in EDH, yeah, there may be someone who likes the artwork or something, but I think that's like such a small percentage. If you think about the entire percentage, 100% of people who demand the card, maybe less than 1%, in my opinion, are people who are collectors, who like the art, who want to grade the card. I think 99% are people that want to play them in a deck. I think I could be wrong. Now there are certain cards that once they get fancy enough, like LEDs or whatever, people do want to grade them. But I think for the most part, and there are people who like angels and cats, and there are these kind of like weird niche markets for cards. But I think for the most part, really, it's just like, okay, how many people need these in their decks? And we all know that the biggest population of Magic players is EDH players. So I'm not really surprised to see a positive correlation here between the two variables. Now, the next thing I want to look at are, what are the cards that are seeing a lot of play and maybe the price hasn't caught up yet. Now, in doing this analysis, I'm basically assuming that, okay, if something is seeing a lot of play relative to its price, that means that the price hasn't yet caught up with the amount of play. It could be in the opposite order, right? It could be that people anticipate that it'll see less play in the future, and therefore the price is kind of accurately anticipating a drop in play in the future. But I don't think that's the case. So basically what I did is I looked at this chart, and I looked at all these points that are below the trend line, because the points that are below the trend line basically means that, more so than any other points in the graph, they are seeing a lot of play relative to their price. and I highlighted them over here. So the three big ones, and I think like the ones that see the most play are the most reliable data points, because there's so much noise between 0 and even like 200. um it's there's a lot of variation there. If a card is seeing play in 200 decks, to me, it's very close to seeing play in 0 or 100 decks, and you just don't really know. But if you have a card like this one, it's seeing play in 1,000 decks, to me, okay, that's a stronger data point. I know this card is seeing a lot of play. And, plus or minus 100 decks isn't going to really change it too much. It'll go from like 1,200 to 1,300 or 1,100 or whatever. So let's talk about these. So there's 3 points over here that kind of stand out to me. There's one that's seeing play in 956 decks, one in 1,000 decks, and one in 1,224 decks. So what are these cards? The big one is Tombstone Stairwell. So Tombstone Stairwell is only $20 right now. It's seeing play in 1,000 decks on EDH Rec, which is a whole lot. According to this trend line, something that's seeing play in that many decks should be worth closer to $100, maybe like $80 or something. And you also need to be careful. Is this relationship really linear? Should it maybe be exponential? We don't know, right? So, but what we can say is, relative to the other points, it is low price relative to its the play that it sees. And this one's also quite low price. Oh, that is the one, Tombstone Stairwell. So let's analyze this card a little bit more. And I will say that, one of my friends who I trust a lot when it comes to he does like speculation based on, he looks at the card itself and whether or not he thinks it's going to see play in the future. And I asked him to give me kind of a short list of reserve list cards that he thinks are going to see a lot more play in EDH, and he gave me Tombstone Stairwell. So that's always good. It's always good when you have like 2 different methodologies and they both give you the same signal. So I'm definitely very interested in buying Tombstone Stairwells right now. Let's see what this card does. During each upkeep, each player puts into play a Tombstone token for each creature in his or her graveyard. Wow. With haste? That's crazy. This is so many words. I'm like struggling to understand. Okay, here looks like the Oracle wording here. Each player creates a 2/2 black zombie with haste for each creature in their graveyard. Wow, and they don't die at the end of turn. I don't think. Oh, at the beginning of each end step. Okay, so it seems like, to make a long story short, basically every turn you get a 2/2 haste zombie for each creature in your graveyard, and then at the end of turn they all die. Interesting. Pretty powerful effect. I mean, it's not the kind of effect I would want to play, because it's like all your opponents get to use it first, and then you have to pay the cumulative upkeep and they don't. So unless you have some way to kind of make it asymmetrical, it doesn't seem super powerful to me, but definitely a powerful effect. And usually these type of effects that kind of scale into the late game, let's say you had a 4 mana 6/6, right? Every turn it can only do 6 damage, but a card like this for 4 mana, it could deal 0 or it could deal 100 damage. So cards that scale well into late game, in my opinion, are the best cards in EDH. So I can understand why this might be a good EDH card. Okay, so yeah, definitely interested. And so let's just talk about the strategy, right? So let's say you find a spec you're interested in. So I'm interested in Tombstone Stairwell. I think the best place to get this card would be to go to Cardsphere, right? So I'm gonna look at the top offer. The top offer is 50%, last 10 trades. So someone actually bought one today. So had I done this a few hours ago, I might have got it for 62%. So Yeah, I'd be very happy to get this for 62%. So why don't I put something close to that? So I'll add this to my wants. Yeah, why don't I do 62? 4 of them. So, this is going to be near mint. Do I also want to pay 90% for slightly played? So what I do is I'm going to look and see what the differential is between like near mint and light play. Tombstone Stairwell. What? It's sold out? You kidding me? Did I really miss out? No, it's not sold out. Why does it say there's no lowest listing here? That's weird. Okay. So it looks like near mint is selling for $18.50 is the cheapest. And then light play is selling for like 16. So they're pretty close, honestly, in price. So I don't mind doing offers for both. So what I'll do is I'll say near mint and slightly played. And just a reminder, if you're speccing on EDH cards, in my opinion, you should be going for LP copies, because you're not really grading these, and I don't think, people who are using them in EDH decks don't tend to really care if it's like a flawless copy of the card. And you don't have to run into lots of issues. Like, if someone's gonna mail me a near mint copy, there's a decent chance it's not actually near mint, and so that's just kind of a hassle. But so yeah, so I'll say either near mint or slightly played. I'll do 62%. That seems to be the last one that traded. I'll put a quantity of 4 and I'll add it to my wants. So now you can see it here. Luka shook. And my offer is $11.53. So we'll see if anyone mails me these. The other thing you could do is you could just go here and just start buying these, right? You could get these for 16 bucks. Light play or 18. I don't know if I want to make the commitment. It's a bigger decision, but if it wouldn't be a terrible idea if I was just like, okay, I'm just gonna spend $2,000 or whatever, buy 100 copies, and just buy them out at a certain price. Because if you really do have strong conviction and believe that the card is gonna double, then it's not a bad idea to just buy it out, boom, grab them. So, and that's what I did for Grim Feast. So let's look at, so that's Tombstone Stairwell. Let's look at some of the other ones in here. Like I said, there are 3 different cards here that are of interest. So we looked at Tombstone Stairwell. Now, I think one of these is Shallow Grave and the other one is Hall of Gemstone. So Hall of Gemstone is in 1,200 decks, and it's a $40 card right now. And Shallow Grave is in 1,000 decks. I really like Shallow Grave even more than Hall of Gemstone, because Shallow Grave I know it's a cube card, and it's also maybe playable in Legacy. I'm not sure if it's playable in Legacy, but I do like Shallow Grave. So I guess the other thing we can look at too is we can look at these. I like looking at the charts to see kind of what's going on. So for Tombstone Stairwell, it's just been steadily going up, and it's drifting up. So to me, that's like good. That's a good sign. It kind of fits with the theory that the card is underpriced and it's trying to find its correct price. Let's look at the other 2. So let's look at Shallow Grave. So Shallow Grave's been actually kind of on a downtrend. So maybe it pushed up too high. Maybe it's not supposed to really be up here at 50. So that makes me a little bit more nervous, you know. So it was at 20 and it jumped up to 60 or 50, right? So when something makes that jump up and then it starts falling, it may have jumped too high. The true price may actually be somewhere between 20 and 50. Maybe the true price is 40 or whatever. So I'd be more hesitant to grab Shallow Grave. Um, but again, why don't we just, take a look at Card Sphere, see what's going on with Shallow Grave. So the last trade was also 62%. Right now the top offer is 50%. So if we put 62, we'd probably grab these. So we'd be grabbing these at around 30 bucks each. I mean, yeah, that seems fantastic actually. I mean, that's why I love Card Sphere, right? Because if you got this for 30, you could probably sell it immediately on TCG and make a profit. So, yeah, let's add this to our wants. The only thing is you'd be in a little bit of trouble if you ordered near mint copies and you got LP ones. But okay, so let's take a look at Shallow Grave. Yeah, so LP is close. Okay. Yeah, the lowest listing is 40 for near mint and it's 35 for light play. So that's okay. What I'm doing here is I'm checking to see if I'm okay paying 90% for, because in some cards, the light play copies are worth like half the near mint copies, so you don't want to just go for slightly played at 90%, because I mean 90% I'll be paying 27. Let's see, would I be okay paying 27? Let's see if something's possible. So let's say for near mint I want to do 62. So okay, so now I'm bidding for these at 62%, and let me see if I can do a separate one for light play. So light play, and I do this one at like 50%. So let's see if that worked. I do believe the ones that it shows you here. Okay, so these are for near mint, and what about for slightly played? Oh, someone's bidding more than me. Okay, so I want to fix that. So I think the strategy when you're doing Card Sphere is you want to always be like the top person. You basically go 1% above whoever is top. Okay, so let's go to wants, Shallow Grave, slightly played, and let's just go up to 51% for that one. Okay. So we did Shallow Grave. So now let's look at the next ones. What was the third one? Hall of Gemstone. Okay, so let's take a look at Hall of Gemstone. This is a card that Rudy has talked about a lot, so you have to be careful when someone like Rudy talks about a card. That means there could be it could be overhyped. But it is seeing play in 1200 decks. So, and again, this is on kind of a downtrend. So, very similar to Shallow Grave. You may have just been too late. You may have needed to get in at this price down here. So, You know, let's add it to our wants though. I think it's likely that we can get it at a good price here. The last trades were at 80% for slightly played. Wow. What about for near mint? 65% for near mint. So we could get this at 65%. I like to always look at the prices here. So the last sold listings have been around $30. So it's really, so you have to be careful, right? So here it says 40, but it's really like a $30 card right now. Yeah, so 37, like this is way off. And that is an issue with Card Sphere. Sometimes this takes a while to update, so I wouldn't make any offers right now for Hall of Gemstone. Right, because if I do, you know, 60% of $37, that's like 22. I mean, that's not terrible, but would I want to get these at 22? Yeah, okay. That's not so bad. So let's add these to our wants. Let's do 60%. We'll add 2 to our wants. And we can do the same for slightly played. So now we are the highest offer for near mint. We're offering $22 for near mint. And let's see for slightly played. We're offering $20 for slightly played. And we're the highest offer. So cool. So that was just kind of a fun little experiment. And just so you guys know, I highlighted I think 8 cards from Mirage that I would keep an eye out for, that I think are likely to increase in price over the next few years. Carrion, surprisingly, seems like a pretty cool EDH card. It's seeing play in about 500 decks on EDH Rec. Hall of Gemstone, Harbinger of Night, also another really cool card. A lot of promise there. Let me just add these because I think they're cool and people may not be on people's radars yet. So Carrion and Harbinger of Night. So Carrion. So someone's offering 70%. Let's see. So go to Carrion. Last sold listings for like 11, or the lowest listings at like 11 or 9. Okay. Let's see. The last few trades have been at like 80%, so people are not letting go of these very easily. Okay, let's outbid that guy for near mint. 71. I'm also fine doing 71 for, we'll add 4 to our wants. Okay, so we got 4 of these in our wants. And then Harbinger of Night. Another pretty cool card. During your upkeep, put a -1/-1 counter on each creature. Very interesting. Looks like the last few traded for 67%. So let's go 68% to outbid this guy. Let's double check the prices on TCG Player. lowest listings for like $9, and LP is for like $5. Let's take a look at these live prices. Okay, but there's only like 2 of them for that price. The rest of them are for like $6.28. You know, I almost just want to grab these. $6.28. What does a near mint look like? Lowest near mint's $8.50. $8.50. Yeah, so do I want to get these for $6.28? It's an interesting thought. I'm not really sure, so why don't I just add these in here? So 68% will win us there for slightly play also. Okay. So let's do 68%. Let's put 4 of them in our wants. For near mint. And let's do 51% for SP. Okay, so we're winning here. We're offering $6 for near mint copies, and we're offering $4 for slightly played copies. So, yeah, maybe kind of a long video, but you guys can kind of see my thought process and how I use these different tools, and how I try to use some data, although I normally don't really use data. This is one of the few times that I've, looked at a chart like this. But yeah, some of the other ones also, people are curious. Kukemsa Pirates, another pretty cool card actually. Phyrexian Purge, Political Trickery, and yeah, we already talked about Shallow Grave, Tombstone, Stairwell. So those are some of the Mirage cards I'm looking at, and maybe I'll do a similar kind of analysis for another set, but I thought this was a fun video. Hopefully it's useful. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you guys in the next videos. Bye.